Okay, so Brassfacts is gonna get people fucking killed. Let's talk about it. The civilian urban recce. I have a civilian urban recce gun for the end of the world. Do you know what it is? Is it a rifle? Nuh-uh. It's this thing in a laptop bag. Okay? At some point, you might be walking around with a rifle on. I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. And if it is, it's going to be like a fucking M16 slung at your side kind of a thing that you'll just carry everywhere with you. It's not going to be some civilian recondo rig to fucking go scout out the end of the world. You're so fucking impractical, it's not even funny. So, you're going to have to live with this firearm. It's going with you everywhere that you're going to go. And, man, I'm not saying his rig is too heavy or whatever. What I'm saying is, why in the fuck would you carry a rifle most of the time? As a civilian, go into the store. Like, I guess this is a failure in, like, how bad you think things are going to get. You should get that, like, during the Great Depression, there were roving, marauding gangs killing people. And you know what? If you just walk downtown with a Tommy gun, somebody like me would walk up and shoot you in the back of the head with a police revolver. That's very, very likely to be your fate if you just went walking down Main Street fucking Tulsa or Chicago or Dallas or any of these big towns with a fucking machine gun. Back in the Depression, that's how shit's gonna get again, man. And like, I'm not saying you can't walk around with guns. It's at some point it may behoove you to be a little bit more clandestine than that. The way I carry myself and rig my shit out, I rig it so that I'm going to have guns with me always, but I'm going to appear less threatening, hopefully. That's kind of my plan. My plan is to talk to people. Brassfacts is literally going to get shot. Running around with nods at night, this is a toolkit that you should have. But, like, this is his vision of, like, how the world is going to end. And, like, he's very wrong. And, like, even if he was right, I don't know that I would do any of what he said. Okay? Like, you need to rig your shit really, really light. And the reason you need to rig it really, really lightweight is because whatever you're going to be doing, these guns are going to be secondary to it. You have a primary function in life, whatever that is. You're going to have to do that and go out into the world and get supplies and food and whatever and come back. You need like a PDW that you can carry with you. Maybe a PDW AR-15. Like, that's kind of what I would consider Loki, my green and yellow hunting rifle. Is kind of a dual AR-15 you could do anything with that's pretty lightweight. That you could just carry with you all the time. Something like that is what you should have. And like his rig, I guess, is similar to that in some ways. But like, if you're carrying 20 pounds of fucking nods and shit on your gun all the time, I think you're stupid. And if you're like, well, we're just going to operate at night, why on earth would you do that? Given the level of technology present on the battlefield, there are going to be vultures out at night. During the day, thermal's less effective. We're back to old school rules. You shoot at me, I shoot at you. I have a scope, you have a scope. I'm gonna do shit during the daytime. Now, if I had nods and shit, I would go to a position in the daytime where that I could use those nods and shit to watch an area and do shit. And that would be handy. But this is like some, like, I don't know what the fucking urban recce rifle fucking is. But anything that I would call that is nothing at all like what he was building. Like, I see this when I see so many people. Like, this thing is a perfect example. I think I've added a couple of things to this, but mostly what I've done is cut shit off of this and throw it away. And people will be like, why'd you do that? Well, the whole gun industry is kind of like this. You get a lot of useless garbage on that thing. I don't need it for what I'm doing, and it's just in the way, so we're going to lose it like a skirt. Everything in that Brassfacts video needed to have that done to it. Like, just my opinion. The L-can he's wearing on the fucking rifle that he was showing for the urban recce. I owned one of those. I owned an L-can, a real deal L-can, in 2012 or 13. I bought it at a pawn shop, and I sold it to Blazer, and then he sold it back to me. Like, we traded it back and forth a little bit, and then one of us sold it outside of our little circle of him and I selling fucking optics back and forth. It was interesting, but the reason that it didn't get kept in that circle of him and I trading shit back and forth is because it was heavy as fuck. And its one power setting is weird. Like, it made it to where you could see your own front sight in like a weird way. And I don't mean like because I have an A2 front sight post. I mean like I could see my muzzle device because of the fisheye. It was weird. So I don't know why you would pick that optic in particular to put on that rifle at all. And this is one of those like, okay, you need a fucking rig to do this. Why is it that you've gone, okay, let's spend as much money as humanly fucking possible on this fucking rig. And at the same time, by buying combat hardened optics, make it as heavy as you can fucking make it. That doesn't make any sense. For the amount of money that you're going to spend on that L-can, take half of that and go buy a fucking Leupold. So this is what you should get too. It's like, I have a Weaver on my shit. It's cheap and I like it, and it's a 2-7, whatever. But like, I'm not saying that you should go buy some no-name whatever. I'm not even saying you should go buy a Weaver. I'm saying is, you should buy a quality fucking scope, and that you could spend half the money that you spent on that L-can and get like the most Mac Daddy Leupold on earth. So it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Currently, if I were shopping for a scope, I would be looking for something that did 2 to 10 and did it as lightweight as possible. I'm not interested in true 1 power on a scope type scope. I think that's just a fucking waste. I would take it now that all of these scopes have it, but this is where, like, if a scope company really wanted to fucking make some money, they would have to, like, get In-Range TV or somebody to fucking market this shit. Because no one's going to listen to them otherwise, because everybody wants true 1 power. Most of the time, 2 power is good enough. 2 power can get me by in most CQB situations. And the ability to go all the way out to 10 would be handy, but on my current rig, it goes to 7. That's enough. 8 would be better. If you can make the 2 to 8, 2 to 10 Vortex. You should make those. You could make those way lighter. And at the same time, like, the way that those are lighter are not as battle hardened. I guess it depends on what you're going for, really, right? Like, some of the stuff that you have that is heavy is not that battle hardened. The L-can is, but it's, in my opinion, you should put that on a machine gun. the ACOG is, I would run an ACOG. I used to own an ACOG. You can go back on this channel and see videos of me with an ACOG. I like a red dot. As opposed to an ACOG, I'd take a red dot. That's just my preference. The red dot that I would buy is the Holosun 403R. If you're on a budget, if you're not on a budget, I would buy the Aimpoint T1 Micro or whatever their newest flavor of shit is. I don't know, T2, T3. I don't know what they have made and what they haven't. I stopped keeping up several years ago with Aimpoint, and they had a T2 at that point. But in my opinion, the T2 really wasn't worth that, the extra money or whatever. This thing I have on here is the Holosun 403R, and it's a clone of the T1, basically. Maybe a T2. I think the T2 might be a body style thing. In any case, it works, and it's $170. That's what you should get about that optic. The Aimpoint version is bragging rights, in my opinion. These Chinese optics are combat quality. At least the Holosun ones. Can't speak to all of them. But I've had many a Holosun now. I've had at least a half a dozen over the last probably 5 or 6 years. I've had a bunch of other cheap optics from Vortex, and I had that Spikes Tactical one, and hey, I've tried a lot of different shit. So you should get that when I'm telling you I like this red dot, that it's someone that's literally bought and sold all the rest of them, and now is going, okay, what do I need for cheap? That's what I bought. I have 2 of those, and I have a Weaver 2-7, and that's all the optics I own. Other than that, I have a 22 with iron sights, and all the rest of my pistols have iron sights. And the red dots are worth having batteries. Scopes with batteries, I don't know. They had weight, and they had capability for sure. But here's the thing, is like, if you're not going to be particularly doing much with that rifle at night anyway, and you have white light on the gun, and you have backup irons on the gun, I don't think an illuminated scope really matters that much. I like a simple duplex reticle at night, because there's less to read in it, and you have more to look around than all of those reticles with a bunch of shit crowded on them. And this is where, like, know what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be fucking, Carlos Halfcock in the end of the world, and you need your fucking reticle, then fucking go do that shit. That's not going to be most people. The rig that I'm kind of building you here, or talking about, is like, I look at Soviet and Finnish snipers from World War II and what they were doing to survive in the cities that they were in. And that's kind of how I've come up with this isn't what they used. But given all of our shit now, this is pretty much what I could guarantee you they would want. Other than, like, a PKM. They would definitely take a PKM, but that's not on their available list of shit, right? Like, if you gave Zemo Haya the option of having a PKM, Jesus Christ, that man would have had a lot more kills. Think about that. He killed 540 people or some shit like that with a bolt-action rifle. Anyway. If the world does go to total pot, having a rifle rigged to use in fucking night vision would probably be handy. That's not the rifle that I would drag everywhere with me in society to fucking go explore with. Unless you're doing that shit at night. But if you're doing that shit at night with nods, you're gonna get shot. Like, no bones about it. And if you're like, who's gonna shoot you? Well, I don't need nods to run at night. I'm set up to take nods from other people. I exist. And I'm not that big of a threat according to most of y'all. Imagine the ones that are threats. Half of it is like, how dark is it really going to be? That's an unknown, right? If you're in total pitch black, even the nods aren't really going to help you, right? But like, that's never the fucking case. In cities, there's lights and shit always. Even into the world, there's going to be lights and shit from somewhere, and it's going to make a lot of bloom. That I don't even need night vision in a city. This is one thing that you should get, is if I was running at night in a city with modern lighting, I wouldn't wear night vision at all. And there's all sorts of people that run fucking night vision for that. I used to have to find, sorry, I can't speak. I used to have to find really dark areas to go try my night vision shit in. And if you're thinking, oh, well, it helps me, whatever. Well, maybe you don't see as good in the dark as I do, or maybe you're just a dumbass. Okay, go actually try this shit. Go actually sit out in the dark, see what you can see, and go actually sit out in the dark with that shit and see what you can see. The idea of being a fucking lone man night raider with night vision, that's stupid. Okay, there's probably going to be a lot of people up moving during the day. And, you know, assuming that not everyone is a dead zombie walker or whatever, that there is some sort of a society still going, my bet is that you're going to have, you know, probably a no long guns policy a lot of places. Maybe like a slung AR would be socially acceptable in Texas, Oklahoma. I don't know. It really depends on how fucking crazy things are. People get to where, hey, we put these little tin badges on people and only they can carry guns. That's what happens in this country over and over and over again. That's what they're going to do again. It can't be controlled, so now we got to take the guns from the people. They're going to establish some sort of order or whatever. And like, this is the thing that in Brassfacts, like fantasy that he lives in, all government entities are going to disappear overnight, and nobody like me is going to try to reestablish order. Because like, I guarantee you in Tulsa, I'm probably not alone here in people that are going to try to fucking put up new government or some shit. Like, my own plans for that are basically, you know, I'm going to have my little area of Tulsa that I like with the businesses that I like to frequent. And they will be running regardless in the end of the world because they're under the auspices of the protection of, you know, my church, so to speak. Whatever this is. Eventually, I will have a following or some shit here, and then, like, we'll ride around on motorcycles and shoot guns in the air and shit, and it'll scare people away. But that's 100% going to be a thing. And it's not going to be like some roving, marauding gang of people. No, it's going to be a bunch of people that realize that basically they could only maraud for so long. All of the people that would be the best at marauding are going to be doing what I'm talking about doing. Where, like, they have set up their little fiefdom and the people that they protect. And if you fuck with those people, then you're probably going to die. And, like, they're going to be in their little area. And there's going to be a lot of those. And those people are going to be open to trading eventually. Like, this is... assuming that the federal government did just blink out of existence, which I don't think it would. I think eventually you'd have a train come through with fucking... federal troopers on it, and at that point they'd probably make whoever had built something to keep the town going, probably just make it official that they're now the government until things are fucking righted. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional in thinking that, like, things will bounce back. But, like, we've bounced back from really bad shit. My great-grandfather ate nothing but turnips for, like, 2 years during the Great Depression. Let that sink in. That's why we stored up so much fucking Spam and shit. You know, you might talk a lot of shit about Spam, but if you've only eaten turnips for 2 years, the can of Spam from 1994 starts sounding a lot more appetizing. Maybe not from 1994, but it never goes bad. The rest of my issue with Brassfacts' whole thing is just the level of fucking shit that he's running makes him much more of a target than he would fucking believe. Like, this is the thing, is if you are going to sneak around at night with that sort of shit, you better really know what you're doing. And, you know, there's ways of doing shit at night without night vision. And in today's world, I think most of those are almost even better because of how many people are running night vision. Like, I think you need a thing to scan with or whatever, especially, like, looking for other people. This is where, like, a heads-up set for yourself might be handy. But as far as, you know, all that bullshit that you're hanging on your gun, I think most of it's kind of I think it's a waste. Anything on your gun that's projecting, you know, I guess a white light is the thing where, like, if you need it, and whatever, right? And if you have night vision on your head, having a light on your gun that can do white or IR, that makes sense. Having a fucking giant IR laser aiming module thing with a laser illuminator and having an IR white light combo thing and another white light, yeah, this gets to be ridiculous. This is one of those, like, pick what you want to have, I guess. And this is where, like, there's a lot of people that be like, well, I need that shit to shoot at night. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Probably not. I will give it to you that the laser becomes a thing that once you have heads-up night vision, you need it. But at the same time, like, how much do you really need heads-up night vision? Really? Like, it's on my list of shit to get, but it's lower on the list than people would expect. Like, building the helmet rig for it was higher priority because the stuff could be had easily and cheap, and it's stuff that it's military-esque, and it's going to be going up in price. So, you know, I don't know. I probably wasted some money building out a fucking helmet rig, but I'm wasting some money building out a fucking set of web gear too, so I don't know. It really does concern me considerably that so many people in the gun preparedness community on YouTube live in this thing where, like, they don't get that what we're going through, at least in my opinion, is it's not going to be Mad Max. I don't think we're ever going to get to Mad Max. The most Mad Max shit you might see is Bonnie and Clyde and, like, John Dillinger type shit happening again, which, when was that? That was 1930s. That was the last time the world ended. A world ended. You should really go take some lessons from the Great Depression and stop watching so much fucking Hollywood shit. And, like, this is from someone that I like all the same toys as you. I like a lot of the same things. It's just, man, I don't know. It's also situationally dependent that all of the stuff that he was saying in his video, I think, is pretty much useless. The very slim scenario where you might actually fucking go out on a night raid, it's not what I would plan for, and it's not what I would plan my whole recon trips around or whatever. Like, this is the other thing, is like, if you are going out to recon, you're going to need to be able to see. And like, while you can see at night, for the purposes of reconnaissance, with a pair of binoculars at night, I can see a couple miles from a high place. From a high place during the daytime, I could probably see a lot further than that. Okay, easily 25 or 30. And like, you're not going to be able to see as close or whatever. You know, it's different, but like, you'll see much better, I guess is my point. And if you really think that, like, oh, well, during the daytime, there'll just be snipers everywhere hunting for you, you live in a fantasy world. Either that, or I do. I don't know. I very much doubt that there's just going to be fucking snipers everywhere in America. I think, like, if we have a civil war pop off or some shit, and there's cities that are being fought over, there's going to be fucking snipers. Like, you could be in one of those cities, I guess, but, like, I don't even think that's not even really within the realm of shit that we need to be concerned about right now. I think they're going to starve us out before they come for our guns. I don't know really what the whole point or plan of all of this shit is, but it does seem that there is a greater overarching plan to what's going on. And this is where I think he did say one thing in his video where he said a $2,000 L-can would probably be more useful as food. Yeah, he's right. To just smeagol up and hide in your house longer. He's right. Anyway, I'll leave you with those thoughts. I don't know what else to say, really. I would rig my shit completely different. And it does start to get weirder when you add night vision. I will add that. But this is my point, I guess, is I don't think I would bring a night fighting capable rifle as my recon rifle. See you later.